everybody. It's been a long time since I've posted. I know I said I would do more. I'm sorry that I haven't, but I've been very ridiculously busy. Let's see, today is December 23rd, so it's the last day of the shifty time that a bunch of people were saying was going to be a big deal. I remember when I first read the prophecies about what was going to happen at the end of this year, so right where we are right now. And of course, interpreting them is difficult because the people who gave them knew what they meant. But also, what it's really important to remember is that the people who made these prophecies were people who were multidimensional. So they were, medicine men and mystics and people who had visions and could speak to otherworldly beings and things like this, generally. And so when they made these predictions, they weren't necessarily speaking about the third dimensional physical world, although some things have happened in 3D. But generally, I think that the way that these things often happen, and usually when prophecies come true, they're anticlimactic anyway. It's happening on levels that aren't physical. And so, yeah, there's been a lot going on. As far as I go, I have had some increased encounters with, non-earthly beings. I mean, literal Earth, as in folks from space. And I told you about one of them in the last video, and there was another thing that happened. I had a few hours of really distinct missing time where I woke up in a room of the house where I don't remember getting there, and I was laying down without a cover on, and I always sleep with a cover on, so I know if I had just fallen asleep randomly after going to a room and not having any recollection of going there, I would have at least pulled a cover over myself, and I didn't. And it was a little too perfect the way I woke up. It was almost as if someone had laid me down the way that you lay down a child who's fallen asleep. And that was after having several hours that I don't remember what happened at all, which is very, very unlike me. And I found out later, I didn't know the time of the actual alignment, but when I woke up, it was right at the alignment. So, I don't know, I've got some theories on what happened there. I'm really not sure. But what I think this video should be about is mostly everyone's awakening intuition, and intuitive abilities overall. When I say that, I mean blanket stuff, prophetic dreams, other dimensional dreams where you might be having dreams where you're interacting with people and then you find out that they've had dreams about you. Also, it's happening a lot that people are just randomly popping into your head when they're thinking of you. So if you're thinking of something totally different and then someone pops into your head, it's likely that they're thinking of you and you're kind of hearing the ripple come out. That's not 100% all the time kind of thing. But also, feelings, empathic stuff is going off the charts. Some of you may be feeling extremely tired, anxious, angsty, irritable, and if that's what's going on, then it could be a few things. One of them might be that things might just be shifting for you. Something else might be that your body might be requiring new things than what you've given it before. So I would highly encourage everyone, if possible, to keep exercising. You can't often this time of year completely avoid foods that your body might not ordinarily revel in, like tons of, sugar and wheat and whatever else, dairy. But make sure that you keep eating things that your body does love. So don't totally sub in, a bunch of Christmas cookies for your normal, healthy, whatever it is. Also, a lot of people's bodies are changing. So I've noticed that with work that I've been doing is that people's bodies may be now asking for things that they hadn't had before, and what used to be really healthy and working for them may not be. I know that for me, my body is requiring different foods that normally my body wouldn't have liked, and now it's asking for them. But it's intermittent. I'll want some things for a few days, and then I'll go back to my total, health kick, which I really like. I mean, all my food tastes really good, so I'm not depriving myself of anything. Anyway, I'm digressing. But really just try to be present with yourself. Make sure you're hydrating. All of these things that are happening are going to be so much easier the more water you have in your body. I know someone who's doing a detox to a level that I've never even heard of because of some energy work she did and doing those things that she did with the alignments. Yeah, she's essentially detoxing every cell in her body, so it's very difficult for her. We were talking this morning, and I said, I'm getting that you need to drink water as much as you possibly can, create more rivers going through your body than there usually are. So that probably goes for all of us, I think. If there's this huge thing happening and we're entering these different places where things look the same and sometimes feel the same but aren't the same, you might notice you're having different thoughts, you're thinking about different things. And I know that in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, what they say, and I'm totally paraphrasing here, is that seriously, seriously, we cannot tell you how difficult it is to be able to tell that you've died or transformed if you're the one that's having the experience. I know that sometimes people have near-death experiences and have the tunnel and the life review and all this kind of stuff, but I also know, because of personal experience and people that I know who've had these experiences, that sometimes it's not that intense and it's a lot more subtle when you go from one realm of existence to the next, and sometimes you might not even notice it, which is how you get ghosts sometimes. You know, they haven't quite realized they've made the transition. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot going on, and mostly just be present with yourself. Know that everyone is unique. There's no blanket anything that applies to anyone, except just to be as present and as kind with yourself and other people as you can. Because the holiday is a difficult time anyway, and there's this huge transition. So you might be experiencing lots of bliss and loveliness and amazingness, or you might be having a really rough time. It's likely that you're ping-ponging between the two, depending on the day or the hour or whatever. But just really listen to yourself and see what you need. And, you know, this is holy basil tea, which I'm waiting to drink because it's amazing. I've learned a bunch of stuff about adaptogen? Is that what it's called? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to claim to know something I don't know about this stuff. I just know it's good and my body wants it. Anyway, so yeah, let's see what else is going on. Today is December 23rd. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve for those of you who celebrate Christmas. So happy holidays to whatever it is you're doing, even if it's just hanging out and eating popcorn and hot chocolate in the cold weather. I am opening a new intuitive development class, which will start on January 3rd. So go to my website, which I'll put down below in the section of the video details thing. And other than that, there are lots of bliss outs coming up. We have postponed the one in Utah for January. It's not going to happen the way that we planned just because too much is going on. It just didn't come together. And these things all have lives of their own. There's going to be a skiing themed one in Idaho in March, and there will be one here in Los Angeles area. I think it's going to be in Pasadena in April that's going to be all about astrology, and specifically starseed astrology. So that should be really fun. Also, there's going to be one up in San Francisco in February, I believe. I'm not totally sure if we're still doing that one. It's getting kind of close and things aren't falling into place. However, it might still happen. But the way the Bliss Outs run is shifting a lot, and that's a whole other video. But they're going to be more easy to get to, easy to come to, and there are going to be a lot more options of things you can do from home to participate as well if you want to. Anyway, I hope you're all doing very well and holding it down and doing what you could do. And I could talk a lot about the downloads I've gotten about how the shift has worked, how certain people are having crazy ascension symptoms, how other people aren't, but we were all very significantly positioned right before the shift happened energetically. So not necessarily physically where we were, but there was a lot going on in those last couple of days right before the date that made us the people who are consciously doing the light worker thing in these really specific places. I know that those last couple days did not go at all how I planned as far as what I was doing. So after I realized that I was having symptoms of being taken up a whole lot and groggy, and realized that most of what I was experiencing as a soul I was not at all aware of in my physical body, and so I was sleeping much of the time and didn't really move around very much and that kind of thing. And once I realized that that was what was happening, it was a lot easier not to be resistant to that reality. Anyway, I'm also still working on Starseed Wilding, which you can still pre-order. It's coming a lot slower than I thought, but I think that now it's going to pour out a lot more. I think I've said that before, so I'm just waiting. Like I said, all of these things, when you go off intuition, it's hard to plan sometimes. Anyway, I hope that 2013 is the best year yet for everyone watching this. I'm wishing that for you, and a beautiful holiday season. I hope to post more, and go in peace. Have a wonderful night, day, week, month, year, whatever. And I'll talk to you again very soon.